talent enough to make it in the creative industries anymore? On this episode of the MarshyCast, I'm joined by Phil Edgar-Jones, Director of Sky Arts and Trustee of the Sky Foundation. We discuss why so many talented young creatives are finding it harder than ever to break into the industry, how rising costs are creating new barriers, and how the Julia Rausing Sky Arts Bursaries are helping the next generation turn their passion into a career. The only catch: you have to have talent as well, which sadly counts me out. It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to be joined by the Sky Arts Director and Trustee of the Sky Foundation, Phil Edgar-Jones. Phil, how are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me along today.
So the last time we spoke, around about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago, was just before Twisters came out for Daisy. We'd both seen it. And we both said how fantastic it was, but we obviously had no idea. I think we can call ourselves tastemakers because it was a phenomenal success.
Well, that's nothing to do with me, so I just liked it.
Well, I'd like to think that, by people continually saying they like things, more people will go and see them.
That's how influencers work, isn't it?
Is that what we are now? We're influencers.
You got to say these things to more and more people. Yeah, I end up liking it. Yeah.
Well, let's see if we can do our job with this one as well, because we are going to be talking about the fact that future dance stars are being priced out of the industry because of fears of the next generation of talent not coming through.
Yeah.
I think, is this a new thing, Phil? Because I think throughout sort of, as long as I can remember, you look at the people that come from money and the mums and dads have money to send people to school, and the lower classes maybe not getting those opportunities.
Well, I think it's problematic in many ways. So we did a bit of a survey around this actually, and there's a significant number of people, like 60% of people believe that of the next generation that are coming through, believe that dance is just too expensive for them to take part in. We noticed as well that since 2019, this is off the back of the pandemic, the number of people going into dance and choreographers fallen by a third, which is, in terms of sort of overall arts sector, which is quite a significant percentage in relation to other disciplines. So we don't completely know 100% why this is happening. I think certainly expense is an issue. Dance is kind of uniquely expensive in many ways. You need a venue to dance in. If you're just doing it just beyond your TikTok videos, you need a venue to dance in. You need special clothes. You need, music. You need maybe other people to dance with. You need a sprung floor. There's all sorts of added expenses, travel around the place, all sorts of added expenses that make it kind of harder at that sort of entry level as well. And then I think sometimes it's the case that in dance organizations around the country, again, I think pegging it back to maybe off the back end of the pandemic, because that's the length of our survey, is that there are fewer opportunities in dance organizations because, you see there's a whole kind of vicious line of things, or circle or whatever, audiences aren't coming back to the theater in the way that you might imagine. People are booking really late for everything. So arts organizations, dance organizations are one of them. They take fewer risks with the productions they put on, which has this sort of trickle-down effect to taking fewer risks on people. So there's sorts of lots of unifying factors in a way that come together in a perfect storm to make it kind of much harder, which is why we're launching this initiative today. And I think also there's a cost of living crisis. There's money's tight for everybody. Arts education in schools, and that includes dance amongst many other things, music and the visual arts, etc., isn't as prioritized as it might be. And so all these things kind of fall by the wayside as people, prioritize other things, I guess.
I think life has changed a hell of a lot in the last 5 or 6 years, hasn't it? For every single one of us, coming off of the back of COVID and the lockdowns, and then obviously with the wars going on everywhere, and all of the prices shooting up through the roof. This is choices that everybody have to make every single day about, putting fuel in the car, eating, then going out to shows. My children, they do this, but then they also want to do this as well. Yeah. We've all got to choose these things every day, and it is getting tougher and tougher. My own personal experience, my daughter who's 13, She does horse riding, but she also did acting and dancing for a while as well. And it got to that point where we had to sort of ask her to had to ask her to make a choice, and she chose horse riding. And she still does stuff with the school and other bits and pieces, but we had to remove her from like the private one because of money.
I think that's right. I think if you're making tough choices in life, and that's why we teamed up with the Julia Rousing Foundation for this initiative, and they're a philanthropic arts organization that was set up by the late Julia Rousing or Hans Rousing in memory of his late wife Julia, who was a tremendous supporter of the arts. So they've provided a significant amount of funding for this initiative, and we're providing the sort of means to do it, if you like, through the Sky Foundation. And so I can tell you a bit about it because I think for us, you can do what you can do, right? So, we can't force the government to fund the arts over defense. We can't make those choices for them. So as a kind of, now a charitable organization, we can put some serious money into helping our emerging artists in this field. So the initiative allows for 20 dance makers, and that's people who are kind of more choreographers. You're creating pieces, not just someone like me dancing in their bedroom to terrible music. The people who are actually going to create a piece of work and may have had some background in this as well. So they get £30,000, sort of living wage really, to live off for a year. So that helps pay the rent and the bills, put food on the table, etc. And then access to a £40,000 fund to help create their piece. So again, all that stuff of bringing a dance production together it's lumpy, it's expensive. It needs properly funding, and you need the time to do it. You need the resources to do it. And then, of course, one of the other things I think beyond money is access, right? So your foot in the door, if you like. So, seeing is believing, isn't it? I think a lot of people think, oh, this is not for me. It's not somewhere I could get to. This door is closed to me. So part of the job of this is to open doors around the country as well for people. So we've partnered, it's very noisy out there suddenly. We've partnered with lots and lots of dance organisations across England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, who will provide mentoring, who will provide a base for people, a bit of that sort of back office support as well. So it's that foot in the door, it's a bit about resourcing, and it's a bit about just having that time and space to do your work.
Is it also a case of, for anybody who is coming from a lower class background, having some idols also to think that I can do this? This isn't out of my reach at all.
Do you know, I think that's right. I think it's, if you can see it, you can be it. I mean, that's evident, isn't it? And that's what sort of diversity in all its forms is all about. And I think in particular, we've got a big job to do with people who are maybe from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, who don't have the advantages, who don't have the cash, who don't have sort of parents who are in those worlds, to give them sight of those kind of things. So I think that's why we're inviting, anyone to apply really who's got a talent for it. Of course, you got to have ability as well. We trade in excellence. We don't just want sort of. Yeah.
You look at me, Phil, when you say that, don't you? I know what you're getting at.
Well, I don't know. If you saw me dance, you'd probably run screaming for the hills. So it's the website open. The application's open today. They're open to the 9th of September. So there's a good sort of month to get your ducks in a row and apply for it. We really encourage people to have a look and come and give it a go, really.
I think the one thing that we certainly deal with here is, we want people to be inspired. We've got a fantastic city in Portsmouth here. We got some fantastic theatres and dance groups and everything. We want people to be inspired. We don't want people to think, our local theatres, as amazing as they are, by the way, we don't want them to think that they are the ceiling. Once you've reached there, that is it. You can't go any further. We want people to think that, once you've done this and once you've reached this level, you can go on to the next stage. You can go on to London and New York and wherever else it is, and make a name for yourself doing something that you truly, truly love, and there are people there to help you along the way.
I think that's right, and there's surprising how many opportunities there are, and it's up to us, I think, to try and help in the privileged position we're in with our contacts that we've got to help open those doors for people.
Is this something that you've encountered quite a lot? People that you've maybe spoken to that either from one way or the other have said, I came from this direction and I had help with this, or that you've met people that said, I would have loved to have done this, but there was nobody there to help me?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I'm kind of very lucky. I run the Sky Arts channel. I work in TV. I'm mostly meeting people who are pretty successful, and often who have come from not very much. Like I started in TV. I didn't have a family who were in any way, shape, or form involved in this medium. I sort of came down to London to try and find a job, and kind of met some people and fell into it, and kind of got into it that way. So I was very, very lucky, and I'm very keenly aware of that. And that's and most of the people I work with are keenly aware of it, and we feel it's our job to try and reach those people who, a bit like us, didn't think it was something that was possible to do, but can show them that there are pathways through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, not the same, but I worked in construction for 20 years before I found myself in radio. So again, I want it to be clear that if you truly want something enough, there are ways of doing it. If people maybe want to find out a little bit more about this pathway, what's the best way for them to do that, Phil?
So we've got a web address here for you, which is long and I might have to spell it. It's the Julia Rausing SkyArtsBursaries.com. That's where to sort of head for. So Julia, as in Julia the name, Rausing, Rausing, Sky Arts, pretty simple spell, bursaries.com. So that's where we'd like people to head.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get that link and we'll put it on all of our socials and our bits and pieces as well. So if people want to click on that link, they can do that directly. Phil, it's always a joy to talk to you. Thank you so much for talking to me. Hopefully we'll talk again in another few years about something else amazing, because I always love talking to you as well.
We're always up to something. So thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Phil.
All the best to you. Cheers. Bye-bye now.